Okay, Chris Nicholson, interesting times.
Yeah, very interesting times. You couldn't, if you'd wrote this out on a piece of paper a year or two ago, you possibly wouldn't have believed it, and you certainly wouldn't have wanted to have done it. But I guess like everything in life, these things happen. You work through them, and you get out the other side, and it feels like we're almost out the other side of it.
The build has been amazing.
It has, and it's funny. There's no one group, there's no one person that can put their hand up for it. It was such a big task that it needed, it needed Vestas, it needed Volvo Ocean Race, it needed the shared services, it needed Powerhouse, it needed the entire everything.
Coxie.
Yeah, absolutely. But it needed this huge group, and it needed everything to go right for us to be here. And honestly, that's how it is. It's not an individual. It's not even an individual organisation. It was all of them. And if any one of them hadn't been there, we wouldn't be here now.
The one design made it hard and made it easy at the same time.
It did, but it made it difficult in the actual building of the materials of the boat. But I also think it made it easy in regards to the race and the rules, being able to cope with a situation like we had. It's amazing. Like when the rule was written, and I guess the thoughts of how we were going to race one design, when that was all getting done, this was never envisaged. It was back then. It was like you may have a couple of structural issues, and you patch it up in port and you get going again. Whereas this was, I think it says a lot about the rule, and it says a lot about the race to be able to do all this, come back with a boat now that will be able to go do the next race. And we finished the race off essentially with the boat that we started with, and we've done what's right. The challenge is the next 1,200 or so miles.
Yeah, it is. And as you know, we've got a little bit of a scramble on to get ready. We've had, but our first 2 days on the water were great, and we had a meeting yesterday, and just thank Coxie and Tom Kiff in regards to our guys who were there with Persico, Persico have been unbelievable through this process, but they were there, and for us to be able to get on the water and do the 2 days that we had straight out of the box was really impressive, and that wasn't the boat. To me, we've got it actually in better shape than originally when we got the boat in Southampton right back before the start. And
you loaded it up on day one?
Yeah, of course. Coxie gives you the usual story: take it easy, and of course it.
Sailors.
Yeah, and he's just as bad. So don't just blame me for it.
And you've got a new an addition with Tom. Or a
yeah,
replacement?
Tom Addison, Simeon, and they just slotted in really well, and no problems. It's pretty it's pretty good to see. It's good to see the team just form up again and get moving. Like, for sure, it hasn't been easy, and we've had even difficult times just in the last week trying to get that to mesh again. But in general, after everything that's gone on, you'd have to take your hat off to how everyone's conducting themselves.
And now you've got a boat that's in good shape. Issues yet to discover. Sails in good shape, but got to learn how to sail it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the old trick. We know how to sail it to probably 95% of where everyone else can sail them now. It's that last 5% and how we discover that in the time we have available. And to a certain extent we may not be able to find it. So we just got to work out what is achievable in the speed
stakes and then focus more on the tactics. You know, if we get hung up all the way, you know, to Lorient on speed, I don't think we'll get there in the speed stakes. But if we can be smart, that may make up for a lot of things in these shorter tactical legs.
Yes, it's only a Hobart, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only a Hoey.
But a lot lighter.
Yeah, well, maybe. It was 30 knots yesterday,
yeah,
when we went out for our second day of sailing.
Yes, so it's so interesting times yet. And you're looking towards the next race?
Towards to Lorient or the next Volvo?
No, to the next Volvo.
Yeah, I'd love to do the next Volvo. You know, like even before the start of this one, I thought, yeah, I'd still like to do one more, but the way this one's gone through both its good and bad, yeah, absolutely motivated more than ever. And
the spirit within the teams, you know, the competitive spirit is different than the way it used to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. You know, One Design Racing tends to, I think, bring out a different, whole lot of different attributes in people. Like it, you know, when they understand they're on a level playing field, it changes the way people are. You know, in the past when teams knew that they had a faster package, a faster design, you know, I think they behaved quite differently to now. Now I think everyone's a little bit more level and a bit more humble with how it is, and it changes the game.
And more enjoyable as a result.
I think so. I think it is to take, you know, like especially dealing with sponsors where you know, you may have a faster design, you may have a slower design, and how you quantify that to them. You know, and the public surely understand this much better than ever before, that they're racing the same boats. It's more down to the people and their preparation.
And your sponsors?
They have been amazing, considering how, you know, we had a short start. It was extremely, you know, tough for them getting up to speed. Then just as we were starting to work really well together, then we had the reef incident. So, and since then it's been hard on everyone, and they've, you know, they're really, I think, robust organisation and really good people. So out of all this, I think it says so much about the people within Vestas. You know, they're still here, they're still fighting, and it's what you'd want from a sailing team. It's what you'd want from a sponsor. It's really good.
So a dream sponsor, really.
I think so. I think they're a great brand for our sport, and it's just an ideal fit for this race. And you know, I hope you know, one of the goals in coming back was to be able to you know, somehow try and repay the trust that they put in us back at the start.
Yeah, yes. Well, the challenges haven't stopped, and they're going to go on for the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. They will, and but they're the best challenges to have. People, you know, you kind of sit back at the end of the day, you think, wow, it's been, you know, like a stressful day, you know, everything else going on. You just go, yeah, but it's all good stress. It's all, you know, the last 6 months they've been really tough on everybody, but we're through that now, and now we're out the other side, and hopefully enjoying going sailing and especially the race again.
Yeah, great. Well, good luck.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys.